Hello there everyone and welcome to a new review on the channel. And today we're looking at ShowReel by Michael Murray, the big Blackpool 2023 hit. And it is very, very good, but it does have a few caveats worth mentioning that I think are going to be good for certain people to know. But it's a very good product and I can't wait to talk more about it. So let's roll the intro and get straight into it. Perfect, so you decide to stick around, which means you want to learn more about ShowReel. Now, what is ShowReel? If you don't already know, it's an effect using a sheet of kind of magazine that you can present to your spectator with some various information, and then a sheet of movies that has a bunch of movies, and then a set list of actors, and then the spectator is going to pick an actor, and you're going to be able to reveal who that is. Now, this is one of the effects I really can't perform for you because I have no one here, but I can give you a short kind of rundown of how this would work as a performance, because I'm sure that you've probably already seen how this looks. If not, there's a ton of performances online, but essentially you would introduce this page, you would explain to your spectator what this is, you would ask them a few questions, you would engage with them, and then you present them this list of movies. And you tell them that they're going to choose a movie that they know quite a bit about and that they're familiar with, and they know some of the main actors and supporting actors in the movie. For example, in The Matrix, people would know, of course, there's Keanu Reeves in it, but there's also Lawrence Fishburne, which plays a really big role. And some people know Lawrence Fishburne quite vividly from the movie, right? So you tell them that to go for a movie that's not The Matrix, in which they know a bit about, to that extent. So they would go through the list, they would choose, and then they would go and choose the actor from the list. So they can't just think of any one actor from the movie. They have to associate one of the actors from here with the movie that they've chosen. So they do that, and then once they've done that, with little to no questions, basically direct mentalism, you're going to be able to reveal the actor that they chose, and afterwards you're going to be able to show them that they got influenced in their decision. So that is what ShowReel is. So knowing what it is, where do you buy this, how much does it cost, and what do you get? So this is available at Mind Effects, of course, since it's a Michael Murray product, it's available there, but it's also available at other shops across the world. So it's available at Vanishing Ink, it's available at ALAKAZAM Magic, and many others. And of course, as always, if you want to buy this from ALAKAZAM, there's a small discount code that you can use on your purchase to get 5% off. But nonetheless, this costs £25, 30 USD, or 40 Canadian. Okay? And what you get is 3 of these pages. So you're getting 3 of them. They're very good. They're going to last quite a long time. And the reason you're getting 3 is if you just want to perform the close-up variation, well, you're going to have 2 spares. However, he does also teach you a stage parlor variation, which uses 2. So you could have one of these set aside for your close-up performances, and you use the other 2 for your stage performances. So you're getting 3 of these sheets, as well as the instructions. And the instructions are 3 hours long. They are 3 hours long, and Michael Murray goes so in-depth with everything here. He teaches you variations, parlor stage, close-up, how to prepare the page, how to make it the best, how to learn the method behind it, everything in excruciating detail. And there's so many things that he goes through here for this effect. It is very, very detailed for an instructional video, and it's a very good one at that. So that is what you get with your purchase. So before we continue, I do want to mention a few things, a few miscellaneous things. So first of all, this is not like other movie effects where even if the person isn't that familiar with movies, it's going to work. This one specifically, if the person is not familiar with movies, you have a large chance of this not working. Now, Michael Murray does tackle that in the tutorial, but you really do have to be careful who you perform this to. For example, I've performed this to someone and I asked them before, you know, are you familiar with movies? Do you watch movies? Do you know a bit about the actors, etc.? And they said, yes, I'm like a virtuoso of movies. I know everything about movies. I'm super knowledgeable. And then when I gave them this and I asked them to do what I asked them It literally took them like 3.5 minutes because they didn't know any of the actors in the actual movies or any of the voice actors for the animated movies whatsoever. So it took them a long time to get to an actor that matches a movie. So really make sure that when you do this, the person is really knowledgeable. Now, in some cases like mine, the person is going to say they're extremely knowledgeable with movies when they're not, right? Because they're going to be, right? It's different. For example, for myself, I go to the cinema once or twice a week, that much. Every single week I'm there watching the newest movie. I watch, even when I'm not in the cinema, I watch things on Netflix, HBO, everything. I'm super knowledgeable with movies. I've probably seen, at the age of 25 soon, already over 1,200 movies, maybe even more. I'm extremely knowledgeable, right? So for me, knowing movies is having seen maybe 500 plus movies, but for other people, maybe watching a movie every 3 months is being knowledgeable, right? Or maybe watching the Oscars and following social media is knowledgeable. So it's impossible to really dissect or discern one's knowledge of movies, but just keep in mind that some people will say they're knowledgeable and they're actually not that knowledgeable. So the effect may take a bit of nudging or a bit, of a wrong turn if they really can't associate anything from here to the actors. So this was a really big interval, but I really did want to put that out there because it is the only negative that I have with this and the only one that is worth mentioning in extensive detail because it is something that will occur in your performances, I think, no matter what. So having said that, and a long-winded way to say that, let's continue on with the difficulty. Is this difficult to perform? And the answer is no, but you do have to be very good in your instructions that you give, right? Because as I've mentioned previously, for example, if someone thinks of Ghostbusters, right? If they really like Ghostbusters, they may go for an actor in the movie that's not one of those here. And maybe he's going to go to another movie like Lucy and not go for Scarlett Joe and go for someone else that he doesn't know, right? So then if you're not direct in your instructions, maybe someone is just going to think of, Angel Has Fallen and go for Gerard Butler because he doesn't understand that his actor has to be on the list, right? So make sure that your instructions are good and the spectator understands what they're supposed to do before doing it, okay? So that's the most important thing regarding difficulty because the effect itself is easy and pretty much self-working. There's a few things that you have to do on your part, but there's no real memorization required here. There's nothing really complicated at play here. It's almost self-working, self-working. So it's really nothing too complicated, but you do have to be precise in the language that you deliver and the way that you deliver it. That's going to be where the sum of work is going to come from this effect, okay? And then also with the reveals, if you want to do the influence reveal, you will just have to remember how to reveal the certain things that you need to reveal. So difficulty-wise, not too difficult. Let's talk about practicality. Is this effect practical to perform? And the answer is yes. As you saw, when you fold this up, right? When you fold the page up to put it in your pocket, it literally folds like this. It folds like this, super, super small. So you can definitely put this in your pocket or in your wallet, anywhere, and you're good to go at a moment's notice. So super, super easy to fold, and then you just remove it and you're ready to go in your next performance. So practicality-wise, super easy to carry around. Also, it's a routine that doesn't require a table. It can be standing up, standing down. It doesn't require anything like that for you to keep in mind. So it's super, super easy to perform as well. And practicality-wise, there's no angles with this. There's no real peeking or nothing like that at play. It's pretty self-explanatory. So practicality-wise, it is very, very good. It can be done in dimmer lighting conditions. It can be done to multiple people at the same time, like in the parlor stage version. So definitely, practicality-wise, this is a very practical product. So in that regard, it's very good. Now, let's move on to where do you perform this? So where would you perform this? You can perform this, as mentioned, with the routine that he teaches you in parlor or stage, or you can perform this close-up, which is where, for me, I'm going to perform this close-up. I'm personally not going to do the parlor stage version. I like the close-up version of the effect much more. So that's going to be the one that I will be performing. So the close-up version, just like this in my pocket, and I go and I perform it. But yeah, you can do this table hopping from table to table. You can do this street, bar, anywhere you want. You're going to be able to perform this effect. And yeah, the only thing that I have to mention is that you're probably not going to want to perform this twice to the same group. Now, Michael Murray does teach you how to do that and how to get away with them thinking of anything else. So if you want to perform it twice, you can, but most of the time, you know, you're better off just performing it once. Because also, if you perform it at a venue, people will get different results. It's not always going to be the same person that is going to be named by every single spectator. Now, maybe one or two of them are going to be more prominent than others, but it's going to be different enough that it's not going to raise much suspicion if ever one or two spectators talk to each other. So, yeah. Now that I've said all that, let's get into the positives and negatives. Let's talk first about the negatives. What are the negatives of this effect? Well, there's basically just two. There's one that I've talked about extensively before I started talking about the difficulty of the effect, which is the knowledge a spectator has of movies. As I mentioned, that is not something you can avoid. Some people will say they're extremely knowledgeable about movies when they're actually not. Some other people will say, not really, so you're maybe not going to perform this effect for them, but they're actually super knowledgeable and it would have worked. It's impossible to discern that just from discussing something with someone, right? So that is something you'll have to keep in mind when you perform. Second of all, yes, as I mentioned, there's different variations if you perform this from table to table at an event, but eventually some people will think of the same spectator, of the same actors, and if they talk afterwards, which to me is never an issue because once the show is over, I don't really care if the spectators talk after like an hour after everything is done, and they're like, oh, you thought of that, oh, me too, what a coincidence, right? I'm not really worried about that because once I'm done with my performance, I think that the magic that I did to them in the moment doesn't ruin the fact they talk about it afterwards at all. But I know it's an issue for some, so I do like to point it out. So, having said all of that, what are the positives of this? The positives are the instructions are incredibly good. A bit too long, but they're incredibly, incredibly good. Second of all, the pages that you get are extremely good quality. You're also getting 3 of them, which means that if ever one breaks or you drop it or falls in water or anything like that, you'll have spares. I don't know if Michael will have refills, but maybe he will, so you'll be able to get more, but still, it's good quality. The effect is also very fun to perform. It's almost direct because there's not much procedure in this. Once the spectator has an actor in their mind, it's pretty much direct. You get directly into it and you're able to directly tell them basically in their head and in the way you're performing it with no questions. You're just basically to directly tell them you're thinking of this, which is very incredible. So it's very, very good in that regard. And it's also a fun routine if you like movies. I do think you will very much enjoy having this in your repertoire. So having said everything that I have to say about ShowReel, would I recommend it and what do I rate it out of 10? Would I recommend ShowReel? And the answer is yes. Now, I do recommend if you like movies, because if you're someone that knows nothing about movies and you perform an effect such as this where your spectator does have to have knowledge about movies and you have no clue what you're saying, then it's not going to be that good. So be knowledgeable about movies if you buy this. So as I said, this is not like the other effects like Cinemental by Nicholas Mavresis or any other of the movie type effects where you can know nothing about the movies and then just perform it. Here you do need some knowledge to make this entertaining and make this valuable, because I think that if you know nothing about movies and you talk about this, it's not going to be very interesting whatsoever or even at all. So know something a bit about movies, but yes, I do recommend this effect wholeheartedly. It is very good. What would I rate it out of 10? I would rate ShowReel by Michael Murray an 8.5 out of 10. It is very, very good, but it is a movie effect and I own and I perform a lot of them already, but it is different enough to stand apart from the competition, albeit it does have the possible negative that some people will not be knowledgeable enough with movies when performing it, but even then it's a very good product, especially for the price. It is very well priced, it's not expensive, and you're getting a really foolproof and direct piece of mind reading when you get this. So yes, I recommend it, an 8.5 out of 10. So having said all of this, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, and comment if you have any questions, and I can't wait to see you all in my next review. See you then, and bye-bye.